Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 2, Episode 6, Melora. So this is an interesting episode, and I could be wrong, but I feel like this is a type of episode that we haven't really had in Star Trek, at least as of yet, that I can remember. So this episode's very allegorical for, I was saying not even allegorical, the episode is about people with physical disabilities or handicap. And so for this one, a new member of the crew has joined, an ensign Melora, which what's the title is based called, and she's an Elasian she has a different gravity on her planet, and so it kind of affects her differently. And so when she first shows up, she's on crutches, and then they give her a wheelchair that she can kind of get around the space station. And before she even gets there, O'Brien has been going around trying to put ramps and stuff like that all around the space station to kind of be more accommodating for her. And she already has a reputation before she gets to the station of that she doesn't like people helping her. She wants like a basic help that she needs, and then if you try to go above that, she gets very irritated, and it kind of makes sense. So from here, it's kind of interesting. So she shows up, and she wants to go out to the Gamma Quadrant to do just tests. She's a science officer. And they start fighting instantly that Dax is like, oh, well, I'll go with you. And she's like, no, I can do this by myself. And it's kind of Dax and the Dax emotion, whatever, like personality is like, no, you're an ensign and I'm going to go with you. So she goes to Cisco to kind of see what they can do about it. And Cisco's like, you know what? I'm not going to accommodate you. I'm going to treat you like everybody else. And if anybody else were an ensign, I would not just give them a runabout to go to the Gamma Quadrant. So from here, she kind of starts a relationship with Brazier, and honestly, like we're starting season 2. Brazier will like go after any woman that moves. It seems like. First we had Kirk in the original series, Riker in the Next Generation. Brazier is definitely the ladies' man for Deep Space Nine, and so he keeps trying to go after her. And it's kind of interesting. They go to the new Klingon restaurant, and there's the Klingon chef, and just them ordering all the food. It's a really funny scene. It's kind of a touching scene. So we start to see her have some difficulties on the space station, where she mentions how she was just walking through a corridor, and every corridor has like this little lip along the bottom, which kind of makes sense. It's almost more like a submarine than anything. And she tripped and kind of landed on her controls and broke them. And so she's just been sitting there all night, not being able to move. So finally, they reschedule. Dax and Melora do go to the Gamma Quadrant, and things seem to be going very well. Meanwhile, Bashir has actually developed a cure that basically redoes whatever. It's scientific, medical mumbo-jumbo. And to help her overcome this disability, so soon she won't need these crutches, she won't need the wheelchair, she won't need anything, and she'll be just like everyone else. And she does it for a while, and everybody's just blown away about, oh, Brazier, you're going to be in all these books, and you're doing great. And finally, when we get to the end of the episode, it's kind of an interesting moment. Melora's talking to Dax, and Dax is like, oh, you're kind of like the Little Mermaid, where she had to give up everything she wanted. And Melora says, like, oh, did the Little Mermaid, like, did they live happily ever after? And Dax doesn't answer. Like, she doesn't, like, think about it. She doesn't do anything. She's just stoic. And then the scene cuts, which is kind of funny because the Disney movie, of course, has this big happy ending. But, like, the actual Christian Anderson, like, story was not very happy. It was kind of tragic. So it's kind of interesting. They didn't want to lean one way or the other. Oh, is she talking about Disney? Is she talking about this? What's she talking about? Because there's a lot of adaptations of The Little Mermaid. I kind of skipped over, there's a whole subplot about Quark and one of his old, like, whatever, confidants, co-workers, however you want to put it, has come back after 8 years and wants to kill Quark because Quark sold him out. And then that's where things really start to get kind of complicated, because this guy basically kidnaps a runabout and shoots Melora, And for me, like the whole subplot was not needed. That's why I kind of skipped over it, boiled it down. But overall, I felt like this was a really good episode, and I thought it was interesting to see how they dealt with disability and that type of topic. I thought they did a really good job. It's interesting because here we are 20 years later, and now they've kind of reuse this plot in Orville, which, I mean, that's kind of what Orville's known for, is redoing these sort of plots. And it's a great plot, and it's a great metaphorical, allegorical symbol. So I thought this episode did really good. I really enjoyed it. So for those who have seen this one, what did you guys think? Did you think that they did a good job talking about this? Did you like Melora? Do you wish they had seen Melora more? I did a little bit of research. I guess Melora was actually supposed to be the science officer, but then her whole floating thing, whenever she's like in her quarters, and it just got to be too complicated, so they just rewrote it for a trill for that ended up being Dax. So did you guys like Melora? I don't think we ever see her again. I can't remember. But if we don't, which I don't think we do you wish she'd come back, or are you like, nope, one episode, you're good? Go ahead, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for everything. You guys are so supportive, and I couldn't do this without you. I will see you guys next time for the Ferengi episode, Rules of Acquisition.